Hello children, welcome you all. Hope so all of you are fit and fine. You know that outside the pandemic is going on, so don't go outside unless and until it is absolutely necessary for you. Sit back. For the children's sake, DSCRT Bangalore and with the collaboration of Department of Education has brought the school to your doorstep itself. Hence, please sit back and watch the lessons. Okay, today's topic for you is Bhakti cult and Sufi heritage. Children, today I am going to drone you into the world of Bhakti. Are you all ready? Yes, you are all ready. Have some writing materials with you. Children, we have a tradition of starting our class with one of the activity. So, I have given you this activity now. Do you know children who is known as Kabir of Karnataka? Okay, can you answer for this? So, the answer is Shishunala Sharifa is the first Kannada Muslim mystic poet. He is known as Kabir of Karnataka. Do you understand it now? See, one more activity. This activity's name is What is Happening activity. So, all of you might have seen such kind of incidents in your life. Let us see what is going to happen now. See, what happened now? See, a bullock cart was passing on. So, at the right time the cat was there, no, it crossed the pathway of that bullock cart. Then the bullock cart has stopped and they did not move further. Why? Why is it happen? So, in today's time also we have seen it. Whenever we are moving on the road, if any cat, if it crosses the road, we will stop it and then we will proceed. Do we have any scientific evidence for this? Yes, certainly we have. See, during olden time, the people used to travel by bullock carts, as you have seen here. So, these bulls, they used to scare because of such kind of wild cats. During olden times, the wild cats are more in the forest. So, during that time, if they are passing on the road, if it is our forest path, they used to stop the vehicle whenever the wild cat crosses the road. These bulls have threatened all because of this wild cats. So, this is the reason they used to stop the vehicle and they used to proceed it. But today also we are practicing it. Do we have any scientific evidence for this today? No, we do not have. Okay. So, as we have educated, we should not follow such kind of things. Let us see one more example for such kind of practices. In this activity, we are raising a question, that is nothing but, are all rituals pseudo? Whenever people used to travel for a long distance, the olden people, they used to give two things to them, green chilies, the second one is lemon. Now also you have seen, that is many vehicles passing on the road, they have strapped such kind of things to their vehicle. Is it not? What is the scientific reason behind it? Yeah, the scientific reason behind it is, during olden time when the people are passing through the forest area, then they used to get tired. If they are going to tired, their body will be dehydrated. To hydrate their body, they used to give lemon. Do you understand it? So, if you find the water, you can mix up the lemon essence with that and you can drink it. So, your body will be hydrated. Why would they give chilies? The chilies they used to give all because whenever the snake bit a person, normally their nerve system would be damaged. Now, we will have to get to know that the bitten snake, whether it is poisonous or non-poisonous. After the snake bites, after certain time, if we bite the green chilies, then if it is very spicy to our mouth, it does not mean that the snake was not venomous, the snake was non-poisonous. So, this is the reason they used to give two things, one is green chilies, the other one is lemon. So, when we are practicing these things during olden time, it had scientific base, but now it is not. Okay. Now, we can skip such kind of rituals. In the previous slides, we have learned that there was scientific evidence for certain rituals. Then all the rituals are pseudo? No. Then what are pseudo rituals? Yeah, pseudo rituals are just like this. See, here the people are sacrificing an animal in the name of tradition. This is wrong, right? I am not against eating of meat, but what I am trying to say is, in the name of God, if we are sacrificing animal, that is pseudo ritual, we can call it. And then you can see that here one person, he is doing yajna. This person, he is offering many more things to the yajna. All of these things are very expensive. Any practices which is very expensive for the common people, that we can call it as pseudo rituals. Now, let us come to the important stage of our class. So, these are today's competencies for our class. These things we are going to learn today. Okay, shall we begin now? Let us see the introduction of this lesson. So, today what we are emphasizing here is the cult of Bhakti. In South, Alvars and Dasas created social awakening through Bhakti cult. What is Bhakti? Before the completion of this chapter, you will get to know what is the meaning of Bhakti. Let us understand the meaning and prominent personalities of Bhakti cult. We have already seen in competences. Once again, let us go through. In South India, Andal, Akkamahadevi, Kanakadasa, Purandaradasa and Shishunala Sharif are introduced in this lesson. Are we just going to learn about them? So, many literary works have been given by these people, that also we are going to learn today. Next one is pseudo rituals. Once again, we are discussing about pseudo rituals only. So, the first one is Indian society is inclusive of many cultures. Here we can see different kind of cultures. So, only India is called as diversified country, is it not? Okay. In this society, in India kind of society, caste system, superstitious and pseudo rituals were deep rooted. This is common in every society, but in India kind of society, this is very common. This we see it in our day to day life even today, is it not? Okay. So, this was believed that the attaining moksha or salvation for the common person was impossible. Why is it impossible? The common person, just like me and you, we cannot get moksha. In easy words, if you want to understand what is moksha, that is nothing but seeking attention of God. That itself is moksha. They used to say it in back in times, but not now. Now, we have seen Bhakti cult and they have enlightened us. During medieval history of India, they have created certain kind of impression on us that the common people were not eligible for such destiny. That is, common people cannot get moksha only. Why is that? Because they do not know religious practices. If we follow the practices, then only we will get salvation or moksha. But it was the high time during that, you know, these Bhakti people have entered. Bhakti cult and Sufi tradition people, they are called reformers during that time. What have they reformed? Let us see one by one. This we have discussed already. What is the meaning of Bhakti cult? Cult is nothing but a group. What is Bhakti group? Let us see what is the answer for that. Two things we can emphasize here. The first one is global brotherhood or universal brotherhoodness. So, those who are dwelling, those who are living all around us, they are all our brothers only, as well as sisters too. Okay? So, they taught Bhakti is the best way to attain moksha. What is Bhakti? Not to harm any person, not to discriminate any person, not to having any kind of bias over some other person. This is all Bhakti only. Bhakti is not only worshipping the God is just a part of it, but the true Bhakti is that not to harm anyone and not to say any kind of malicious things about anyone. That is called Bhakti. Those who are following Bhakti, they are called Bhakti cults. This word Bhakti, from where does it derived? It was derived from a Sanskrit word called Bhuj. The meaning of Bhuj is nothing but knowledge. Okay? If you have a knowledge, that is nothing but you have Bhakti. Okay? Do you understand it? Very clear, is it not? Gist of Bhakti cult. So, Bhakti cult condemned discrimination. Discrimination, that is, I am very, that is my level is very high, the other one is very low. Such kind of discriminations are there, no? That is class society that these people have opposed. It preached equality. The preaching equality is nothing but all are same. They have preached that those who are born on the earth, all are same. Next one is the saints of Bhakti cult opposed and condemned the superstitious practices. Earlier we have already discussed about that, the superstitious practices. Okay? Those kind of unscientific practices are bad. Okay? Do you understand? So, they have condemned such kind of superstitious practices. They undertook the task of uniting the hearts of people. The people were just broke into two religions during that time, that is Hindu, Muslim and all that. They have undertook the task of united the people under Bhakti. We have a list of the people who comes under Bhakti. So, out of that Andal tops the list. Okay. Let us see about her early life and how did she grow to the level of God. Let us see all of that. Andal is one among the 12 Alvars. In Tamil Nadu, they are worshipping 12 Alvars. So, Andal is one among them. These Alvars are Vishnu devotees. Okay. And she was an adopted daughter of Vishnu Chitta. This Andal, she was abandoned in some other forest. They have just raised her. Biologically, Vishnu Chitta is not a father of Andal. Okay. So, Vishnu Chitta was a Alvar and they were also called Peri Alvar. Children, just try to understand. So, Andal was not known as Andal before. Her name was different. Originally, she was called as Goda Devi. Alvars, what were they doing? They were devotees of Krishna. You know Lord Krishna, right? One of the deity in Hindu society. So, this is Krishna, Muddu Krishna. See, you can see that. They used to worship this god. There was a place called Srivalli-Puttur. They were making garland and they used to offer it to the god. Now, also we can see that. See, they were offering garland. Andal's bhakti was so immense, it was so deep that she assumed that Krishna itself is her husband. Her literary work is called Tiruppamai. She dedicated it to the god only. Now, also we can see that in Tamil Nadu, Tiruppamai Vrata, they observe Tiruppamai Vrata even now. So, during that time they used to read that book what she has written during that time, Tiruppamai. Clear? See, that is Tiruppamai Vrata, it will be just like this. There is a legend related to Andal. Now, I would like to say you that. See, one fine day she was worshipping a god and we have already known that they used to make the garlands of flowers and they used to offer it to the god. On that day, her bhakti has reached to the pinnacle and what did she do? See, she prepared the garland and later on, instead of wearing it to the god, she wore it to herself. This was observed by their parents and they entered to that puja room and they have asked, why is she doing like that? She did not say any answer to that. She became very mum and later on they have prepared the new garland and they have offered it to the god. But the miracle happened here is, you know, the garland, the flower garland, it will be having some fragrances, right? But the garland which made by these people, that is parents of Andal, it did not have any kind of fragrance. Do you understand? So, the new garland did not have any fragrance only. The parents were amused by that. They did not get any answer for this phenomenon. On that day he went to sleep. In his dream, you know, he was dreaming, Vishnu appeared in his dream. Vishnu told that Andal has to get married to Vishnu only. However, the Vishnu Chitta was also devotee of God. He followed the same what the Vishnu told him in dreams. And finally, grand marriage was there and they have married Andal to Vishnu only. Clear? This is just a legend related to Andal. So, what have we learned from this? We have learned from this is a human born can also rise to the stage of God only because of bhakti. So, according to Alvars, those who are born on the earth all are equal before the God. Who is the God for Alvars? That is Vishnu. Do you understand? Okay. So, devotee's birth should not be questioned. They might have taken birth in any caste, any creed, whatever it is, their birth should not be questioned. Caste discrimination is a criminal offence. This they have believed. So, this belief is good only, no? Okay, now we shall come to the very important topic, that is Akka Mahadevi. I need not to introduce Akka Mahadevi specially for you because those who are living in Karnataka, all of us know about our Akka Mahadevi. Is it not? Okay. Everyone knows about Akka Mahadevi, but we do not know her early life and what happened aftermath and how did she got salvation. All this we are going to learn today's class. Akka Mahadevi was an enterprising woman. She did not fear of anyone. The Vachanas have given her name and fame among all Karnataka people. Not only Karnataka people, among all the Shiva Sharanas. Her literary work called Vachanas, you know, that was amazing, that was excellent, we can say that. We have spoke many things about Vachanas, right? Then at least we will have to learn one of the Vachanas of her. See, I will just give the gist of it. ಬೆಟ್ಟದ ಮೇಲೊಂದು ಮನೆಯ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೃಗಗಳಿಗಂಜಿದೊಡಂತಯ್ಯ. The meaning of this is we have constructed home on topmost part of the hill. If you are living on topmost part of the hill, the wild animals are very common. So you should not fear about wild animals. Just like that, ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ಬಳಿಕ ಸ್ತುತಿ ನಿಂದನೆಗಳು ಬಂದರೆ ಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೋಪವ ತಾಳದೆ ಸಮಾಧಾನಿಯಾಗಿರಬೇಕು. The human beings, they are living all around us. In one or the other time, they will say bad things about us. Then we should not fear about them. Okay, do you understand? What a nice vachana, right? So thanks to Akka Mahadevi. So early life of Akka Mahadevi, let's learn. Akka Mahadevi was born in Udutadi of Shivamogga. Okay, Shivamogga district, Udutadi, she was born at. And her father name was Nirmala Shetty and mother was Sumati. When she was at the young age only, she had immense bhakti on Shiva. She claimed that Channamallikarjuna himself be her husband, but that is, there will be a stage in every woman's life, their parents and the relatives, they don't allow any women to be unmarried. Okay, so here also the same thing was happened. Their parents forcibly married her to a person called Kaushika. See, this is King Kaushika. She found it hindrance to her service to Guru, Linga and Jangama. She was always devoted her bhakti to Guru, Linga, Jangama. Okay, but here in the palace she did not find any freedom. So what did she do? Let's see. See, she broke her marriage and went to Anubhava Mantapa. Later Akka Mahadevi stayed in Anubhava Mantapa. In Kalyana there was building called Anubhava Mantapa. She stayed there. Okay, there she wrote many vachanas under the pen name called Channamallikarjuna. At last she used to write the word called Channamallikarjuna. It was her personal god. Okay, so one more vachana is there, you can read it. Here you can see that Akka Mahadevi is here. She is reading some vachanas. All the Shivasharanas around her are respecting her. Is it not? Okay, Akka Mahadevi left Kalyana towards the end of her life. So she went to Sri Shaila at the end of her life. She left her mortal body in Kadali forest near Sri Shailam. She left her mortal body is nothing but she got salvation. She sought the attention of God. So we have learnt about Akka Mahadevi. Next to her, that is next to Akka Mahadevi, is Purandara Dasa. Purandara Dasa, he is one of the important person in Kannada Dasa literature. So we have called that, the big volume is there for Dasa literature. For that he is very important person, we can say. Purandara Dasa was born in Purandaragada. So he was born in Purandaragada. His original name was Srinivasa Nayaka. His father was Varadappa Nayaka and mother was Leelavati. Okay, this is just a illustration pic, you can see that. So he got married. His wife's name is Lakshmi Bai. She was a religious woman. She was very kind. Okay, and Srinivasa Nayaka he was very miser, stingy person and atheist. Atheist is that who doesn't have belief on God. Okay, later he distributed all his wealth to the needy people and spent rest of his life in thought of God. Okay, what made greedy Srinivasa Nayaka to renounce the world? Let's see a puppet story. Okay.
Oh, master, my master, please give me something to eat. I am so much hungry. Just begone. Work somewhere and earn your food. Oh, merciful lady, give me something to eat. I am so much hungry.
Oh, poor one, please take my nose ring and quench your hunger anywhere.
God bless you, lady. Keep this golden nose ring with you. At least now, give me something to eat. I am so much hungry. Oh, this is my wife's nose ring only. Lakshmi Bai, Lakshmi Bai, where is your nose ring which I got you in the previous month?
Sorry, Deva, that poor person was so hungry, so I just gave it to him only.
Oh, you gave that nose ring to that beggar? You did not ask me a word. You have no rights to stay at my home. Just begone from here. Don't show your face to me again.
If my Deva send me away from his home, I can't live anywhere in this world. Better I end my life. Oh, what is this? My nose ring is in this glass only? Oh, Deva, take my nose ring. It was there in kitchen only.
How could this be possible? He was not a beggar at all. He must be a god who came to teach me a lesson. Since that incident, he deeply started to think about God and donated all his property to the poor and went in search of God by singing kirtanas.
Srinivasa Nayaka to Purandara Dasa. His name was Srinivasa Nayaka, right? Then how did he become Purandara Dasa? Here is the answer. He was singing Kirtana and he travelled different parts of Karnataka. At last, Srinivasa Nayaka reached Krishnadevaraya's court. Krishnadevaraya patronaged this Srinivasa Nayaka. There, Vyasaraya gave him Diksha and called him as Purandara. Do you understand it now? So, earlier he was Srinivasa Nayaka. Vyasaraya gave him a name called Purandara. Later, he became famous like Purandara Dasa. So, qualities imbibed in his Kirtanas. So, that is Purandara Dasas. We can see humanness in his song. Humanness is nothing but compassion towards the human, we can see. He condemned the caste system. Caste system was so rigid during that time, so he condemned it. We also see the combination of philosophy, moral and musical qualities in his songs. Okay? All these were there in his Kirtanas. Here is the famous Kirtana of Purandara Dasa. Lolalotte Yella Lolalotte, Ane Kudure Vante Lolalotte, Bahusene Bandaravu Lolalotte. So, this is, we can call it as sixth sense, we can call it as something else, telepathy or whatever it is. As he made this literary work, after very few years, the big dynasty, the magnificent dynasty called Vijayanagara dynasty has burnt into ashes. Maybe he knew that before only, so only he has written like this. Titles of Purandara Dasa. Purandara Dasa has given a title by his guru. So, what was that? Purandara Dasa is a ultimate as a Dasa. It was given by Vyasaraya. Vyasaraya is his guru and he is also known as Karnataka Sangeetada Pitamaha. He is also known as father of Carnatic music. Okay? He wrote Kirtanas with the pen name called Purandara Vithala. Do you understand? Next to this, we are going to learn about Kanakadasa. He is also famous figure in history. Kanakadasa is one of the famous Kirtanakara of Dasa literature. So, the Dasa cult, they were practicing Kirtane. Okay? They were singing Kirtanes. So, among those, he is also very famous. He was born about 1508 CE at Bada village, which is there at Bankapura Taluk, and now the district is called Haveri. That is in Karnataka itself. I do not want to mention it, right. Kanakadasa's original name was Timmappa. Birappa and Bachama were his parents. Okay, fine. So, all of you have seen the famous picture just like I have shown you before, but you know what, this Kanakadasa was a warrior too. Once he was a warrior, he looked like this. He was a warrior and also a poet. So, he was a Nayaka for more than 78 villages around of his village. There is a legend, it says that when Kanakadasa was constructing the home, they have got pot full of gold, so only named after Kanakadasa. Okay? So, earlier he was known as Kanakanayaka and later he was called as Kanakadasa. Kanakadasa renounced the worldly things and became disciple of Vyasaraya. See, once again some unforeseen events has happened, and so that this Kanakadasa, he renounced the world, the worldly pleasures he renounced and he became Dasa. Later he came to known as Kanakadasa. From Kanakanayaka to Kanakadasa he became as. He has composed many Kirtanas with the pen name called Adikeshava. His last word in his Kirtanas, we can see it as Adikeshava. Adikeshava, who is Adikeshava? See, here you can see the picture. Adikeshava was his personal god. And then, so contributions of Kanakadasa, we can see that. See, he criticized the superstitious practices of society, okay, and he preached the simple path of attaining moksha, how to seek the attention of God. He also criticized caste system. All these are contributions of Kanakadasa. Okay, there is a famous story called Kanakana Kindi. All of you would be knowing it. There is a famous Rajkumar movie is there and a famous song is also there. That is, a priest of Udupi temple stopped Kanakadasa to enter into the shrine. But Kanakadasa went behind of that temple and he started singing Kirtanas towards God. So, God was very much pleased. What happened? All of this we can see through the animation. Can we see that? See, this is known as Kanakana Kindi. God turned towards him to give him darshana. God turns towards him only, and that wall was there, no, that has broken into pieces. Now, let us see that Kanakadasa is singing a song. He is coming towards the temple. You know what happened? Priesthood person came and he stopped Kanakadasa. he told that Kanakadasa should not enter into the temple. Then Kanakadasa went behind of the temple and he was singing song. Which song was that? ಬಾಗಿಲನು ತೆರೆದು ಸೇವೆಯನು ಕೊಡು ಹರಿಯೇ ಕೂಗಿದರು ದನಿ ಕೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲವೇ. What happened after? See, so the wall has, that is temple wall has broken and God appeared there, okay, to give darshana to Kanakadasa only. Did you like that? Yes, it was so nice, right? Okay. Kanakadasa's literary work, he has written so many books, you can go through. So this we can see at Bhada, the district where he was born. In his own village town we can see this sculpture. Let us move on for the next Bhakti cult person, that is Shishunala Sharifa. He is the first Kannada Muslim mystic poet. Mystic poet is nothing but he is very different than other people. He is known as Kabir of Karnataka. See, Shishunala Sharifa looked like this. Okay, he was born in 1819 CE at Shishunala. Shishunala is a place where he was born. His parents were Imam Saab and mother Hajima. He studied both Hindu and Islamic religion in his childhood. Children, just try to understand this. This is not given in your textbook. Imam Saab, his father, that is Shishunala's father was there, no? He has taught him to be religiously tolerant. He only supported him to study Hindu and Islamic religion in his childhood. So, he is a good father. Shishunala Sharifa has proven a good son. Later, he passed his Mulki exams and served as a teacher for some times. It is very proud to me because he is a teacher now. And there is a legend associated with Shishunala Sharifa. Let us see through the animation. Once, his Shishunala's guru Govinda Bhatta, he was going on a way. In that way, there was the spikes were there, thorns were there. So, he passed through because he was wearing this slippers, that is Paduke. Later, he thought to examine his disciples. So, he threw his Padukes this side and you know what happened next? See, he threw his Padukes and he asked every disciple to wear it and come through. But all the disciples they are very amused and they told that they will never wear their Guru's Padukes at all. But during that time, you know, Shishunala Sharifa came forward and he worn that Padukes and then he crossed over. It shows to Guru Govinda Bhatta that, you know, Shishunala Sharifa is not like any other person. Govinda Bhatta gave Diksha to him. So, Shishunala Sharifa wrote Tattvapadas after getting Diksha from Guru Govinda Bhatta. In his poem, one can find Rivayat, that is Moharram words. Among those songs, Kalagapada, Dharmika Niti Pada, Alive Pada and Sawal Jawab Pada are very famous. Those who are learning Kannada literature, they will get to know about this, but with the help of your parents and teacher, even you can go through this literature. Shishunala Sharifa's grave. See, this is the original picture of Shishunala Sharifa's grave, which is still there in Shishunala. So, we can see his grave in Shishunala, and he tried to spread humanity beyond the barrier of caste and religion. He is a Muslim who, that is Shishunala Sharifa is a Muslim, but all his literary work was associated with Hindu gods. Okay? So, he is a very religiously tolerant person and his father also supported for him. This we have learnt. Finally, we can come to the end of this chapter. The saints of Bhakti cult, they stress the importance of Bhakti for seeking moksha. If you do not understand the moksha, that is attention of God, okay, seeking attention of God, they have taught us. So, what is Bhakti? Several times I have repeated this, not to harm anyone, that is treating everyone as our brothers, treating everyone as our own relatives, all this comes under Bhakti. Okay? Dear children, here we have home assignment for you. Please do complete it and show it to your teachers. Do not miss it out, okay? I know you do not miss it. You are all very studious children. Okay, finally I can give you one activity. Find out more information about these works of Shishunala Sharifa. What are those? Rivayat, Kalagapada, Dharmika Niti Pada, Alive Pada and Sawal Jawab Pada. So, all this you will have to learn with the help of your teachers, parents and elders.